Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky, and I'm joined as always by the man who once shat himself in Zante when wearing a pair of wee white hot pants. It's Greg. How are you today, buddy?
I'm alright. It's funny you should introduce me in such a way, because a couple of weeks ago, so I went to a brunch, right? And it was like a bingo brunch, which is not my natural habitat, but despite myself, I had quite a good time. And the bartenders they just kept bringing buckets of bottles of Moray, so I was a bit pissed. So anyway, but I didn't stay out late. I went home quite early and blah, blah, blah. And then on Sunday morning, I was feeling a wee bit ropey, but I was kind of up and moving around. But I wasn't quite feeling myself all day. And then on Monday, I had to fly to Kuwait for work. And I still wasn't quite feeling myself. And I was thinking, fucking hell, Greg, you're getting too old to be drinking like that. You know, like 2-day hangovers. Come on, mate. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I bought a wee bottle of effervescent electrolytes. And I took one of them. And I immediately felt better. Like immediately felt better. Yeah. So obviously, I hadn't replenished whatever I had lost on the Saturday. So that felt better. So then Tuesday was fine. Tuesday night, or Wednesday morning really, I'm in the hotel room asleep, and I kind of wake up and there's a fart coming, right? And I'm like, oh, and then I realised that it's not. So I'm not going to say that I shat the bed, right? But
Jesus,
I definitely marked the bed because it was so unexpected and it caught me out. And I made it to the bathroom. It cost me a perfectly good pair of Footloose boxer shorts, which I had, which I managed to get into one of those little sanitary bin bags and dispose of. But yeah, I mean, fucking hell, that's a bad sign, isn't it?
It's a fucking dirty protest in the hotel. Like, the poor maid, was that not up to standards or anything?
I know. I mean, there was spotting on the mattress cover, I'm ashamed to say. But what to do? Didn't do it on purpose. You know what I mean? I hadn't been dry. I was in a dry country, so it's not like I was smashed or anything. You know what I mean?
It must have just been, the electrolytes just doing their work and getting rid of the bad stuff. And
maybe that's been it. I mean, it was fine. That was fine the rest of the day. It was all right on Wednesday. You know what I mean? There was no further incidents. So
I'm glad to hear it. Very glad to hear it. Yeah, well, that's a lovely story to get us started on the pod. I totally forgot when you mentioned you were at a bingo brunch. I think I don't know, I was out or I was walking down the stairs or something, and I thought I need to ask you, and then it went out my head and I totally forgot. I'm not making this up. We have a friend that used to work at the bingo, didn't we?
Techno Jock used to work at the bingo at Aberdeen Beach.
I thought he did. Yeah.
He worked in the bar, but they would sometimes let him call out the numbers. And I'd never ever went in, never saw him calling out the numbers, never eat in for a drink, but he told me that he had some fun calling out the numbers, with the old ladies. So I think he was using some of the old, sort of two fat ladies, like 88, legs 11, that kind of thing, So
that would have all been allowed back then, but I presume that's not allowed nowadays. I'm sure it's all changed.
Yeah, I guess so. I was funny because I just listened to Adrian Edmondson's autobiography recently, Berserker. It's really good.
Berserker.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I've listened to his and I've listened to Ben Elton's in the last sort of month, and they're good because they both narrate their own books, and it's quite nice, you know what I mean, when they narrate it themselves. And they're obviously both very funny, but Adrian Edmondson is naturally funny. And he was saying that one of his first jobs was reading out the bingo over a summer in a summer camp in Scarborough in Yorkshire, and he said that they'd get bored quite quickly, so he would start saying things like two fat ladies, number 9, things like that to kind of mess up the bingoers, just to be a shithouse.
Brilliant. Yeah, that is fucking fantastic. Ultimate shithousery. Wonderful.
Yeah. We were just talking about, just before we started recording, we were talking about they've just finished the Here Comes the Guillotine podcast with Frankie Boyle, Susie McCabe and Christopher MacArthur Boyd, and we're talking about the best of one, and they had little messages from people they've talked about. So they had the guy, is it Rory Carroll, who wrote Killing Thatcher, and Des Clark, obviously, he gets roasted. But they had Marty Pellow, because they were talking about Marty Pellow at one of the Edinburgh ones. Now, Marty Pellow, I have to admit, I've not heard him speaking for a long time, but I know his voice very well from when he was in the Wets, and, you know, a nice, Scottish, soulful voice. But when he's talking in his normal accent, he's like, all right, thanks very much. Thanks for, had a right good laugh listening to the Edinburgh show there. But I was like, for goodness sake. Like someone's speaking voice and someone's like natural voice being so different. At first I thought it was somebody doing an impression of Marty Pellow.
Yeah. I must have missed when he initially said, and I wondered who the fuck it was. And then I was like, and then when he said, I was like, Marty Pellow, Jesus Christ. I mean, that's it's obviously what heroin does to you.
It fucking shags up your voice. But not your singing voice, because he's, you know, obviously.
I was impressed by that, but I did wonder the way he'd said it, like, listening every week. I'm like, I wonder if he has actually listened to it, or if they've just played him the clip or said, can you just do a little soundbite for this podcast and just say that you listened or not? Or, I do wonder if he does actually listen.
Yeah, I think, he sort of strikes me as quite a kind of down-to-earth guy, Marty Pellow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's because you sometimes see him just in Glasgow City Centre shopping and stuff, you know, he's with his partner, sign the odd autograph, pose for a selfie here and there, you know. I don't think he's quite, you know, for a man that soaked 1 million seats back in the 1980s, you know what I mean? I think he's quite down to earth.
I did like they just played that just after Frankie had basically said, if you had to fuck a man in a pinch, you could do a lot worse than Marty Pellow.
I think he'd be really tender.
Oh dear. Okay, right. Well, I've got nothing else to say on that. I'm sure he would be a very tender lover. I'm sure some of the other wets would disagree. Okay then, Greg. Shall we have a look at what's been happening in Scotland over the last couple of weeks?
Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg, what have you seen in the news in Scotland you'd like to share with me and our lovely listeners?
Well, sort of, perhaps it's a bit of a departure from the usual tone and content of some of our stories. This one from Aberdeen Live, I think is quite interesting, and I've kind of got a bit of a connection, to it, because I lived in the same place. But the headline reads: Search launched to trace relatives of Aberdeen footballer and Auschwitz survivor. Researcher Alon Shapira is turning to the public for help to trace the goalkeeper and prisoner of war who survived Auschwitz during the Second World War. James Henry, who was born on October the 12th, 1917, and was married to Doreen Laird, so like the Scottish name for you there, with whom he had 2 children, their daughter Corinne, pronounced to rhyme with Doreen, and a son named James. The Aberdonian was a prisoner of war residing in Germany's largest concentration camp from the first week of October 1943 until most probably the evacuation on January the 21st, 1945. It's presumed he embarked on a long march to Bavaria in southern Germany, where prisoners of war were liberated at the end of April 1945 before later living in the Aberdeenshire village of Maud, where I used to live. And where my mum and my stepfather still live. Prisoners would complete a liberation questionnaire upon release, but there are only a handful of insubstantial prisoner of war records of James stored in the National Archives in London. However, Gunnar Henry is noted as a member of the E715 Escape Committee in a special questionnaire for M19 intelligence operatives, which was completed by a man named Charles Coward. He was the most famous prisoner of war to survive Auschwitz and also became the organiser of the E715 Escape Committee, which Henry is listed in. Henry is listed as one of 3 members, with the other 2 also Scots, Andrew Porteous, another fucking great Scottish name, and David... And perhaps the best one, David Innes Alexander. The researcher Alon Shapira is now turning to help from the public. I think they meant to say turning to the public for help with his quest to learn more about James, who died on September the 25th, 1986. Speaking to Aberdeen Live, Alon said, "I've been doing research for 15 years and I stumbled onto his story when I saw one of the documents, a pink form in the name of Charles Coward. There's a special questionnaire for intelligence officers because when the prisoners of war were repatriated, there was two types of questionnaires. One was a general questionnaire which 140,000 people filled in. The other was for special operatives who were in charge of the escape committees that would write special codes. And Charles Coward had filled one in with 3 of his members, and one of those members was Henry. I couldn't find anything about Henry for quite a while, but then I saw a poster about a football team that helped me put the two together. Henry is noted as a goalkeeper in a pamphlet for a football game between two sides at the prisoner of war camp in September 1944. Obviously, the captured soldiers were having a bit of a different Auschwitz experience to the Jewish inmates. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
The pamphlet was discovered by Lynn Sheldy, the granddaughter of Ron Brown, who was also part of the E715 England football team. Alon has been left entirely confident Henry is the man in question, owing to the number of genealogical records for him which note him as the former Aberdeen A and Peterhead goalkeeper. He is hopeful the family may hold a photo of the E715 Scottish team. It's the only one of the 14 photos which is yet to emerge, with images of the Welsh, English and South African football teams all published. Records also show that he took over ownership of the Station Hotel in Maud from his father, which was only recently sold in 2022. And do you know something? I went in there for a pint on Christmas Eve 2023, and because it was Christmas Eve, the lady behind the bar gave him a pint for free. It's a little Christmas present from your friends at the Station Hotel. So
that's lovely.
Classic hospitality. Alon goes on to say that in England it's quite easy to trace people, but it's more difficult in Scotland. You have to go through other means. I'm trying to find family members because it's possible that they hold memorabilia. I've been in contact with dozens of families of prisoners of war in Auschwitz. The extent of the memorabilia that I found is quite impressive. It led me to a doctor who kept a daily diary of events involving POWs kept in Auschwitz. This is kind of a goldmine, and it led me to contact another member called Ron Brown, whose granddaughter I've been in contact with for several years. But stuff from the families is so crucial and illuminating. There's stuff like possible letters they could have sent, and they could have been kept. The big thing I'm hoping for is that he may have kept his own diary of events that were going on, and that would be really illuminating. I've been in contact for several years with the grandson of Andy Porteous. The family only holds one letter from a bombing of E715 where multiple prisoners of war died. He was one of those injured and sent to hospital, and then Charles Coward sent him a letter wishing him well, and all the injured men well, sending cigarettes and hoping for his recovery. So funny, the 1940s, wasn't it? I'm sorry you're not well. Here's 200 Navy Capstan to make you feel better. But his diary was destroyed in mysterious circumstances, so I'm hoping a similar diary was kept by James Henry. A lot of POWs came back and struggled to talk about their experience, but when you contact the families who kept the memorabilia, you never know what can come out. Alon is now hopeful his appeal can help him delve further into his research about the E715 Escape Committee, and is looking at the family of James Henry and others who may have known him to get in touch. Aberdeen, the area we're dealing with, isn't so big, and genealogical records show that the family remained there, so it's very likely family members will be able to see this. So that is the article. I know I'll be interested. I'll be keeping an eye on that to see if anybody does get in touch. Because I'm trying to think if I knew anybody with the second name Henry and Maud. I mean, it's a tiny wee village. Tiny wee village. And then, you tend to get to know people pretty quickly, but I can't think of anybody with the second name of Henry.
Yeah, like you say, it's a small place, and wow, it's a fascinating story in terms of trying to find. And it's amazing when you think, like, all those years ago, and they've just found this and trying to piece together. It's it's a wonderful little tale.
Yeah.
It'd be really interesting to see what happens and if they're able to find anything.
Well, he only died in 1986, so that was only 6 years before we moved into the village. So
40 years ago, mate.
Yeah, all right, but you know what I mean. Like, I suppose it's 40 years ago, isn't it? I mean, it's actually it's almost it's almost as long as after the end of the war, him passing away, as it is him passing away and me reading this story out right now. That's fucking mental.
Jesus, yeah.
Anyway, well, I know it's a long shot, but if anybody listening, maybe has anything for Alon, if you go on the Aberdeen Live, you'll find the page there and you can get in touch. We'll keep your eye and see if there's any more developments there. So, that's my first story. What's your first story this week?
Well, this is a story from the Scottish Sun this week, Greg, and it's another story that I think is kind of maybe close to your heart as well. The headline is Hairlarious. Glasgow barber shop transforms Reform leader Nigel Farage into hairdresser's model. Nigel Farage shows off a range of hilarious hairstyles in a Scots salon poster campaign following his divisive comments about Turkish barber shops. The Reform UK leader has been pictured as a model with 13 different makeovers, including a man bun, a bowl cut, a mullet, curtains, and a scouse perm. The hair-raising images at G11 Barbershop in Partick even show him with waxed cotton buds up his nose and his ears being torched. They were created by mysterious street artist The Rebel Bear in response to Mr. Farage's claims that many salons were dodgy. Ali Gazar, 26, manager of the shop, said the mocked-up snaps had customers in stitches. He said, "Rebel Bear contacted me and told me about the idea. I thought it was great. I tried to change his mind about Turkish barbers." That's Farage. "We've been trying to put haircuts on him. Maybe we can change his mind about this. Everyone's been so happy, saying it's so funny. Lots of people have been taking pictures." Last year, Farage sparked outrage with a series of comments about barbershops. In a video, he was seen visiting a salon and voicing shock that they actually pay tax and that they take credit cards and not just cash. He said, "You're going to tell me you actually have customers? There's literally thousands of men, aren't there, sprung up all over the country. Turkish barbers, a racket, the whole thing." Fucking twat. We previously told how the secretive artist cloaks his identity with a massive pink bear costume. That's the artist who is, of course, the images. The artist's work has popped up on walls, billboards, road signs, bus stops, statues, and even a roundabout in Scotland, London, and Calais in France. A poster addressing the latest stunt said, "After Nigel Farage's ignorant and deliberate divisive comments about Turkish barber shops, street artist The Rebel Bear teamed up with G11 barbers to highlight the stupidity, absurdity, and hypocrisy behind both the remarks and the man himself. Rather than meeting with more hate, we aim to respond with unity and humour." They also do built-in haircuts inside, so pop in next time if you need one. The Rebel Bear previously told the Rebel Bear previously told the Scottish Sun that his goal is to inspire different patterns of thought and hopefully produce a smile. He added, "The themes cover politics, love and emotion and comment on the absurdity of the world." Reform UK was contacted for comment. And yeah, there are images here of Farage, and he's got a variety of different hairdos. He's got like a Danny Zuko in that one. He's got a big perm. He's got a man bun. He's looking ridiculous in all of them. And yeah, it's nice to just see Farage getting the piss taken out of him.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, like, he's so easy to take the piss out of. Like, when people just aren't very self-conscious at all. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're just like completely because unfortunately a lot of people do agree with him in the UK. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people do agree with like his philosophy and his views on immigration and tax and all this kind of thing. But he's either like just so confident that he doesn't care how he's perceived, or he just doesn't realise that, I mean, he is cuntish. Like, just a photo, if you see him being interviewed, he's a fucking smarmy cunt. If he came up and spoke to you in the pub, you'd walk away from him. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or if he was stood by you in the bar, you'd give him an absolute fucking roasting. I think I mentioned before, like, he came to Scotland years and years and years and years ago. I think even before we moved to Kuwait, and he was in the Royal Mail, and there was a lot of protests against them, and he was kind of ushered into a pub for his own safety. And somebody wrote, it's like the irony of all ironies, Nigel Farage seeking asylum in a Scottish pub, given his view on asylum seekers.
I think someone posted that on the Aberdeen forum about, what a fucking twat he is. And he goes, but he's a man of the people. He loves a pint. And then posted like 50 different photographs of Farage just being in a pub, having a pint. That's his thing. Pint. I'm a man of the people. Yeah, here, I'm drinking a pint of bitter, fucking twat. Yeah. And then the last photo they put was the one when he was getting out of the helicopter after it crashed and looked very confused. Then they said, he doesn't have a pint in this one, but it's my favourite photo of him.
Yeah, honestly, he's sort of reminiscent of those really divisive kind of 80s politicians, but the different, like guys like Scargill or, or like Norman Tebbit or people like that who incredibly divisive, but the difference between him and those guys is that whether you agreed with like Norman Tebbit's politics or Scargill's politics or Kinnock or Thatcher or anybody, you at least felt that they had a bit of integrity in the sense that, that they were, as much as you might not have agreed with them, that they believed in what they were. And it wasn't necessarily just about lining their own pockets or taking or blaming like a certain class of people for like the country's woes. You know what I mean? Like they weren't rabble rousers in the way that he is, and that other fucking numpty what's his real name? Lennon Yaxley, but he calls himself Tommy Robinson. Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay, he's another numpty. He's another one that needs to be fucking fired at the moon.
Yeah, very dangerous characters. But the best thing to do is just put a silly haircut on them and have a laugh at them.
Or send a picture of that ventriloquist dummy on every article that mentions them in the comments, like I do.
Oh dear, never mind. Okay. Right, what else have you seen this week, buddy?
Well, from one real life mischief maker to a more beloved one, this comes from the Daily Record, and what day did it come? The 19th of February. And the headline reads, Dennis The Menace, the one from the Beano, not the one from America, celebrates 75 years of mischief in the Beano with a new 50p coin. The popular Beano star first appeared way back in 1951 and has caused hilarious terror ever since. There's two words that don't go together very often these days. Hilarious terror. You know what I mean? So in honour of supplying decades of mischief and laughs, Dennis the Menace will be appearing in his very own 50p coin alongside his trusty dog Gnasher. This commemoration marks 75 years since Dennis first appeared in renowned comic The Beano. Created in a collaboration with the Royal Mint, fans will be able to grab this unique coin from Thursday 19th of February, which includes the lovable prankster wearing his famous red and black striped top, with a selection of 50p coins to choose from. Some include vibrant colours, which is unusual for a special coin that brings Dennis and his sidekick Gnasher to life. A favourite across generations, Dennis has appeared on both paper and screen as British kids indulged in his shenanigans. While Dennis first appeared in the Beano on March 17th, 1951, he went on to have his own show on the BBC in 1996 called Dennis and Gnasher. Rebecca Morgan, director of the commemorative coin at the Royal Mint, has shared that she is sure that the new Dennis the Menace coin will be loved by those young and old, as they were able to capture his young and rebellious spirit within the coin. She said, "There's something wonderfully fitting about this legendary mischief maker finally making his mark on a collectible 50p, and I'm sure Dennis himself would see it as his greatest prank yet. The coin captures everything we love about him, that unmistakable mischievous grin, his furry pal Gnasher by his side, and that irresistible spirit of rebellion that has made him a favourite across generations." She added, "We're incredibly proud to bring Dennis to life in this way, and we know this coin will be treasured by Beano fans, young and old. The Beano comics have been a well-loved pastime in the UK for nearly a century. First published by Dundee-based DC Thomson on July the 30th, my late father's birthday, 1938, the comic has entertained generations of children for over 87 years. The comic has included a variety of popular characters such as Minnie the Minx and the Bash Street Kids. They even brought to life Roger the Dodger, which became the inspiration for the name of a popular British biscuit, the Jammy Dodger. I've never heard that in my life.
No, me neither.
I'd be fact-checking that, I think. While Dennis and his dog Gnasher are usually seen together, the furry dog reportedly didn't make an appearance in the comics until much later than Dennis, 1968 in fact. However, the bond between the two characters has been clearly illustrated on the Royal Mint's celebratory 50p coin to celebrate 75 years of mischief. Rob Glennie, the Executive Director of Growth and New Product Development at Beano Studios, said, Dennis has always had a knack for turning up where you least expect him, and we're very excited that he has now landed on a 50p coin. With Gnasher by his side, the coin captures the unmistakable spark that has kept Dennis at the heart of childhood for generations. He added, to see that mischief officially minted is a brilliant way to mark 75 years of laughs, pranks, and unleashed imagination. The Dennis the Menace 50p coin will be available to buy from the Royal Mint's website from 9 a.m. on Thursday, February the 19th. Prices are said to start at £15 for the uncirculated coin, while colour versions will be retailing at £25. However, for those visiting the Royal Mint Experience in Lantrisant, South Wales, from February 26th, they will be able to strike their own Dennis the Menace 50p coin. I assume in one of those machines that sort of grinds it between the cogs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yes, it's 75 years of Dennis the Menace. And the thing is, our mutual friend, his oldest son, and it does warm my heart to see this, is a big fan of the Beano and the Dandy and the Bruins and Ur Willie and all the characters that we grew up enjoying and loving as kids. And you know, we spoke on Christmas podcasts many times about how, you know, like the sort of, you'd always get like a brace of annuals for Christmas, and like the Beano and the Dandy would almost always be there along with either the Bruins or Willie, depending on whose turn it was to get a book out that year. But I gave in 1988, I bought, when I was 10, I bought a book celebrating 50 years of the Beano and the Dandy.
Wow.
And I had it from I was 10 until 2023, when I gave it along with a load of other Beano and Dandy books that for some reason I still had, to our mutual friend to give to his son. So yeah, he's still a big fan of the Alexander, still, which is good to see. But I'm glad the Beano's still got. I think it's a bit sad that the Dandy got cancelled. I guess they had to focus on one, right?
I can just update, just a quick fact check. According to Wikipedia, the brand Jammy Dodger is named after Roger the Dodger.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, there you go. We've learnt something educational on this podcast. I'm really glad to hear the Beano's still going. I was a huge Beano fan and a big Dennis the Menace fan. And I think I was never really into the Dandy. I had a few Dandy annuals, but I think they were more purchased from like book sales like, you know, like a school fair. There'd always be Dandy annuals and stuff, or acquired from somewhere. But yeah, I always used to get the Beano and the Dennis the Menace annual, because they used to do a different, like solo annual.
Yeah, they did for a while, yeah.
And then obviously the Bruins Ur Willie, and then whatever was the thing at the time, you know, Street Hawk, the A-Team, Ghostbusters, like the collection of annuals. Kylie, I don't think I ever had a Kylie annual.
No, it wasn't Kylie. It wasn't Kylie. Yeah. Who was it you had the annual of?
I had a Spice Girls annual.
That's the one.
I got that. Was that, yeah. I was listening to them this week. They're fucking great. Still hold up. I had a Spice Girls annual. But yeah, I loved Dennis the Menace. It was just, he was fucking great. And I'm really glad to hear that, I think we've discussed on the pod before, I'd imagine it's a lot more PC nowadays in terms of the content.
Well, he used to get battered by his dad or his mum. But the last panel was usually him getting a slipper off his dad, but because there's got to be a bit of karma, right? You can't just get away with his shenanigans. Well, so his punishment back then was getting his arse tanned by his dad's slipper, or his granny's slipper, the demon whacker, that was made from elephant hide. Remember? I remember the demon whacker.
I mean, that can't be called the demon whacker nowadays. That's got to be a...
Well, I'm sure he's not getting slippered at the end of every adventure these days either. You know?
I might have to have a read of a recent issue of the Beano and see what happens and what his, what does he actually get up to? Does he, as being Dennis the Menace, like, does he just say some nasty things online? Does he not like Walter the Softy's latest TikTok or something? Or, what?
You think maybe he's Dennis the Turf now, perhaps? just online, like, spreading lies about women.
Okay. What are you doing, Dennis? I'm just listening to the latest Andrew Tate podcast or something, trying to...
Yeah. Hi readers. Today I'm dressed up like my hero, Andrew Tate. Well, I'm off to batter, and I'm off to batter my mum. Shouldn't
laugh at that. Yeah, I don't know. Wonder what he gets up to. I'm going to take a hit. I'm going to read a Beano and see what he gets up to and find out what his punishment is. Because what could you do nowadays? Like, take away his phone for a day? Or, like, not give him pocket money? Or, I don't know what the punishment... How do you discipline kids nowadays? Like, give them make them think about what they've done? Or, I don't know. I mean... Whenever I did something really bad, my arse was red fucking raw afterwards.
Absolutely. Definitely getting a doing for misbehaviour.
Condoning, obviously, smacking of children, but yeah, I can still feel fucking my mother's hand on my bare arse fucking raining down because I'd stolen a first class stamp out her purse to send off for some joke catalogue that I'd seen advertised in the back of the Beano. So, it's fucking swings and roundabouts. Fucking bastard, Beano.
He sent it off to join the Dennis the Menace fan club. I never joined the Dennis the Menace fan club, but I remember like the two badges. There was a kind of hairy Nasher badge with googly eyes, wasn't there? And then the sort of red and black Dennis one as well.
Yeah, he was like giving a thumbs up or something in the badge. Yeah, no, I was a member. And it came in like a little plastic wallet, and I can't remember what the top bit was for. It was like a hole to keep your secrets or something.
Right.
To write down your manifesto against women or something. And and then the badges, it was a hairy Nasher badge. I never wore the badges. I don't know why, obviously. Like, even then, it was like, I'm not wearing that. But it was cool to have. But yeah. And I mean, I've told the time on the podcast before that I was in the Beano. I wrote into Roger the Dodger and got published. And I got a Walkman for it, which was, it was brilliant back in the day.
Did you keep you surely kept the issue with your letter in it somewhere, right?
Definitely did. I know I had a few copies of it, and I definitely had it. I think it was in my sister's attic because I never threw it out, but I never took it with me. And I don't know. I think it's still there. I did. I remember having a chat with her because I know they threw out a load of stuff because there was like water damage to stuff. I think it was mostly clothes. I think they kept like papers and stuff. So hopefully it's still there. I need to get that at some point. Get a
wee frame.
Treasures are in there. Yeah,
I know. Could get in that wall there. Well, I had a good time going through the loft at my mother's when I was home for Christmas year before last, because I found an old Victor annual, and it was from 1979, so I don't know who the fuck was buying me a Victor annual when I was one. Probably my father. but it's because my dad liked all that as well. He liked the Victor and the Hotspur and Commando and those like old war comics and stuff. So he would always get, and he liked the Beano as well. My dad, he would read the Beano when I used to buy it. But yeah, like the Victor's full of like story. There was like Hot Shot Hamish, the Scottish kind of Roy the Rovers. It was, I think, when he got one. Like Roy the Rovers was like a bit of a franchise, wasn't it? But I think Hot Shot Hamish was only ever in the Victor at one time. He was just like this massive sort of Hulk-like footballer from the Highlands that could like who could kick the ball through the net. You know what I mean? And there was lots of like die Fritz type stories, you know, and that kind of thing. Not die Fritz, take that Fritz. Like, it would be the Germans would go die Englander.
Right, time, wasn't it? I bet Nigel Farage read Victor when he was a kid.
Yeah, he probably wrote into the Victor, didn't he? I'm sure he did. Oh, now he's ruined that for me as well, the cunt. Anyway.
Oh, sorry, man.
Anyway, that's Dennis. So yeah, if you're a big Beano fan, obviously by the time this goes out, they'll have been on sale for a long time, but I'm sure you can, I'm sure that you'll probably still be able to get them off the website. Our mutual friend bought me some Transformers coins for my birthday a couple of years ago,
nice.
And stamps. Were they stamped? That was one. No, they were stamps, not coins. Well, Transformers stamps to celebrate the 40th birthday. And then he got shitty because I put a picture of the Pat Roach figure you bought me for my birthday on Instagram, and I didn't put a picture of the Transformers stamps he bought me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You got me Pat Roach, and they just say no single.
Yeah. 80s inspired. Well, so were the Transformers stamps, but obviously,
you could say that. Yeah. Anyway, I think we've done Dennis to death. What's your next story this week?
My next story, and when we discussed this before recording, you said, have we had this story before? I think we might have done, but this is maybe an update on it. It's from the Scottish Sun this week, and the headline is Nude Awakening. A Scots nudist has received vile backlash after launching an online group for punters interested in skinny dipping and naturism. The Facebook page was set up with the aim to unite people around Moray for nude beach days and naturist walks. Over 150 people have joined the Moray Naturists and Skinny Dippers private group on the social media platform. The founder of the page, who is also a member of British Naturism, told the Forest Gazette, "Unfortunately, there's still a Victorian mindset amongst some people, plus others who have the carry-on mindset. There were some vile posts on social media when we first publicised our existence. We would like to arrange visits to some of the area's fantastic country houses and gardens. We hope they will accommodate us on clothing optional days when naturists can enjoy the surroundings without denying the general public access. This would be advertised and notified at the venues, so would-be attendees can decide if they still want to visit, whilst naked people might be seen." However, the page got some backlash from locals who were not happy with the idea. One person said, just what we all want to see on a family trip to the beach. Karen and Jim with their bits out taking a wee dip. Another wrote, "Do you know how cold it is up here?"
I was going to say that. I think their bits will be out for long after stepping into that water.
A third person commented, "You can't just all troop up to any beach and strip naked and be naturists. You have to use a beach that is an actual beach for naturists, which the council puts signs up warning people about nudity. Otherwise, it's just indecent exposure." Whilst the fourth person added, "That's the last thing I'd like to see whilst walking the dog." Moray Council confirmed that the group had not approached the local authority over event plans. The man from Dufton, Moray, has been a naturist since he was 12 years old and has lived in the Netherlands and Germany, where naturism is more common. He added, "Across there, nobody bats an eyelid. I still find it hilarious to visit the UK saunas where people are not naked. Naturism is not about sex. It's about freedom. People have it drilled into them." That's a funny term to use. "That nudity is wrong and evil. It's the opposite. Nudity is freeing and liberating." He claims he has met naturists on Moray beaches by accident and has also met some on hills in neighbouring regions. The group's description reads, "Naturism is not illegal in Scotland. A site for people around Moray area who are either interested to participate in naturism or skinny dipping around our great region. We aim to unite people around Moray to ensure our safety while skinny dipping, beach days, naturist walks or other activities. Being naked in public can be a criminal offence in Scotland if it causes alarm, distress or shock. Breach of the peace is the other most common charge and public indecency is the other." A Moray Council spokesperson said, "Moray Council hasn't been approached about this group. But if they do contact us, we would be able to seek advice on any notifications that need to take place." So yeah, that is the story. I just realised there is a comment on this article, which I now have to read. Comment is from a gentleman called Gary Hood. And Gary's comment is, "Aye, people want to take their families to the beach and tourist attractions and be met with wee wrinkly bobbies and threepenny bits hanging down to women's knees. See it in the hoose.
Threepenny bits.
So, I mean, people just want to be able to express themselves and be naked, and people seem to have a real issue with this. Now, I don't have a problem. If you want to do it, do it. It's fine. But people seem to think that, like, all of a sudden they're naked, so obviously they're fucking pedos or something, and they're going to attack my children or steal my wife. Like, why? I don't know. I don't see the problem with this. I get it if it's advertised so people don't get a shock.
Yeah.
And then it's fine. Let people do what they want to do. Why has there got to be such a backlash about this? Or am I on my own here?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm kind of the live and let live sort of opinion as well, but I don't know. I mean, I think, look, you know, the problem is your man there going on about how, it's freedom, and you know, I laugh when I go into the sauna in the UK and people have got swimming costumes on and stuff. Really, well, you know, you want to be accepted, you also need to accept the fact that some people don't want to see your wrinkly wee bobby as well, you know. So I mean, I'm sure they could come up with a way to please everybody, you know what I mean? Like, to your point, so like, I don't know, Wednesday mornings are for the naturists and make sure everybody knows. So if you don't want to see somebody's threepenny bits or wrinkly wee bobbies, you just give the beach a swerve that day, right? And the naturists know they can't just go there whenever they feel like it, because, you know, come on, whatever happened to fucking debate? Common ground.
I'm sure there would be uproar about that, though. Oh, I want to go to the beach on a Wednesday morning.
I should be able to go to the beach whenever I want. Yeah. You know, yeah. You know,
these are the same people that are probably banging on about banning the burqa. And then the next breath, they're banning people getting naked. It's just...
I know, make your mind up. You know, you can't be completely covered up, can't be completely uncovered. You know, when are they going to be happy?
I wonder what Farage's views are on naturism.
Yeah.
Interesting to see that.
Well, he's definitely an opponent of the burqa, so I'd imagine that he's all for it.
Yeah. Oh, well. That's, I wouldn't want to see that. Just standing at some country house naked, holding a pint. You know,
nah. Okay, imagine.
No, I don't want to imagine. Anyway, well, I'll keep a keen eye on that and see if there's any places, and we can arrange a little visit to Moray and get to see some.
The thing is, there's not many warm days of the year up there. You know, you're pretty far north. Like, you're further north than Aberdeen, so and the North Sea at Aberdeen is fucking cold all year round. I mean, there was a guy who used to work at Frankie and Benny's who kept his surfboard in the black hole that we've discussed in this podcast a few times before. And he was just, if you've not heard it, it's just a storage area. And he would go surfing in the summer in his wetsuit, and he's like, even with the wetsuit on, it's, you know, in the summer, it's fucking cold. So I can only imagine what getting into the water up there is like with nothing on. I don't think, as I said before, I don't think you would see their bits. I think their bits would be retreating inside their bodies as soon as their toes touch the water.
Yeah, I don't really fancy that. I don't know. Because you get a bit of a shock sometimes. It was last summer we were on the beach in Den Haag, and it was a lovely day, and walked along the whole length of the beach. Then we got to a certain bit and it was a lot quieter. And it was like, oh, this is the nudist part, because there was just bobbies and boobies and show everywhere. And it was like, fine. And it is a bit of a shock when you first see it. You're like, oh, Jesus, he's naked. And it's like, well. And then, but I have to admit, we did walk a little bit, and then it was like, shall we turn back? Because I don't know, I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable here. And it's, to be honest, it was more uncomfortable because we are fully clothed. And it's like, okay, is this wrong that we are here? And you can't help but fucking look. But you don't want to. You can't help it. You know?
Your Calvinist DNA was tingling. Was it?
I don't know.
Despite yourself.
Yeah, despite myself. It's like, I don't know. I can't help but look at it. Jesus, the size of her bush. But yeah, can't help but look. But I don't know. Live and let live. Do what you want to do. But stay warm. You don't want to get cold.
I mean, the thing about cold water, so our neighbours here, they don't have any children. And the guy, South African guy, he is a pilot, and his wife has a really senior job in recruitment. And so he's into his fitness and stuff. And they've got this little sort of, they've got this like a kind of light, there's a sort of upstairs outdoor patio to let some natural light in upstairs. And he's built a sauna and a cold plunge pool. And a few months ago, he invited me around to watch the rugby. And I didn't stay too long because I was playing paddle and tennis in the morning. This isn't going where you think it's going, by the way.
Swingers.
Yeah. So we're in what he had all these sort of South African pals there as well for it and their partners. So I said, look, I need to go because I'm playing tennis early in the morning, then I'm playing paddle. And he said, well, after, if you want, come and have a dip in the plunge pool in the sauna. It's really good for your muscles when you've been sporting. So I said, okay. I'd never done a cold plunge. Have you ever done a cold plunge pool?
No, I haven't actually. No.
Sore. I mean, I found it painful, and I could only. So it's like a sort of barrel, I guess, but taller, and it's got a kind of step in it to sit on. So I was able. I climbed in and stepped onto the step, and I was able to step down. So the water was up to my waist, but I couldn't go in any further than that. Yeah. I just couldn't do it, and it was. And so you stay in for like 3 minutes and then you come out and you go in the sauna. I think the sauna was like 10 minutes. Then you go back in the cold pool again. You do it like 3 or 4 times. It's supposed to be good for your muscles. I did feel pretty invigorated by the end of it. I mean, he was doing it because they'd been on the fucking pop until like 3 or 4 in the morning watching the rugby. So he was doing it to sweat all the booze out and things. But yeah. I don't like cold water. I don't like getting into cold water. Especially when you can't warm up. Like you would get in the swimming pool, like if you get in Bonacor baths back in the 90s, and it would be cold, but you could swim and you would warm up a bit eventually. Your body would get used to it. But that cold pool, it just didn't. I thought my body would get used to it eventually, and it just didn't. I just couldn't do it.
Oh, well. No, yeah, I can imagine a bit of a shock to your system. And yeah, I don't know, that can't be good, going from cold to hot, but I guess it is. I don't know.
Well,
but,
it seemed to, but I don't know. I don't know. I was just taking some advice,
That's fair enough. Well, you've tried it. You don't agree with it. Maybe try it again at some point. I'm glad the story didn't go where I thought it was going. Genuinely. Greg, put your khakis in the bowl, Greg. You want to take a dip?
Yeah. You want to shoot some ropes in my cow pool?
Okay. Right. No. What's that floating, Greg? Anyway. I don't know. Let's see anything. I never said. Okay. Right. It's a bit to know about your accent. We'll see. Okay. Right. Have you seen anything else this week, buddy?
No, that's the whole lot.
Right. Okay. Before we go on to what we're going to be talking about today, let's have a little word from our sponsors.
There's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do to get one up on you. To get one up on you. When you got your tenants through. Nothing less will do. The one that comes tall, the one that comes cold. Nothing less will do than the tenants gone. Oh, short a long-term view. Nothing less will do. Everybody we know, they know, you know. I know, he knows, she knows, he knows. There is no doubt inside or out. Cool talk, feels big, better now. What do you say? What fits you, nothing less will do. Nothing less will do.
So on our last episode, we covered the John Burns follow-up to Tutti Frutti, Your Cheating Heart, Tilda Swinton. And it was my choice. So that means that it was your choice for this week's episode. So why don't you introduce the TV series we're going to be talking about today?
Thank you very much, Greg. Well, today we are going to be discussing the first series of a show which was very, very well received when it first came out. And the second series came out recently, and it is 2024's Dinosaur, starring Ashley Storrie as Nina, a paleontologist who enjoys her routine life working at Kelvin Grove Art Museum and living with her sister Evie, but is shaken when Evie suddenly announces she is engaged to someone she has only known for 6 weeks. Also starring Kat Ronney, David Carlyle, Greg Hemphill, Sally Howitt, and Lorn Macdonald, the series gathered a lot of attention and praise for Storrie's representation of Nina, who has autism. So, Greg, you mentioned in the last episode you haven't even heard of Dinosaur when I selected it. So,
no.
So what did you think about it when watching?
Do you know, I was a wee bit nervous about watching it because it's a Scottish situation comedy and Scottish programme, because Ashley Storrie's in it and Greg Hemphill and a few other people that we like. I was a bit nervous because I thought, what if it's not very good? And then I'd seen an article in The Guardian, maybe, online, that was not very complimentary about the series in general, because the second series has just recently been on, I think. And I was like, oh. But do you know what? Like, I really liked it. And I think the reason that I liked it is because it's really confident in itself. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes, like, I was listening to... There's a podcast that I like called Scarred for Life. I mentioned it on here before. And basically they talk about stuff like TV shows, adverts, experiences and stuff from like for kids growing up in the 70s and 80s that, you know, you just wouldn't get now, like Zamo being addicted to smack on Grange Hill, or a kid's getting like electrocuted in a public safety advert or something. And they had Doug Naylor on, one of the writers of Red Dwarf. And his career has been, up until recently when he's written a book for kids, not really a children's book, but his career has been all in comedy. Like he was a writer on Spit and Image, he's been a writer on some sketch shows, all before he did Red Dwarf. And he said the thing about a good sitcom versus drama, he said there's probably only a handful of British dramas that you could point to that you could say have stood the test of time. He said, but there are loads of good sitcoms that you could point to, you know, like from things like Steptoe and Son to Fawlty Towers, Dad's Army, The Young Ones, all that kind of thing, that they're all sitcoms that people still go back to. And they're still funny because they were so well written in the first place, like Porridge and The Likely Lads and Only Fools and Horses and things. And it's so, you know, like when like a newish sitcom is presented, and I remember feeling a wee bit nervous about Two Doors Down for the same reasons way back when that came out as well. And what I would say about Two Doors Down is that it's mostly very, very funny. But occasionally there's some episodes that are a bit, you know, but when it delivers, it's fucking brilliant. What I liked about this is it's sort of consistently funny. And I'm like, well, you know, what is it about it that makes it so funny? And I think it's Ashley Storrie and her performance, and not because she's cracking jokes and doing funny things, but it's you know, it's sort of written to let you see how her life is perceived through her prism, because, you know, she's autistic in the show, and that's part of the story, you know, in how she manages with her autism and how she manages around all these normal people who are actually incredibly eccentric. And, you know, she's not an eccentric person with autism at all. And a lot of the time she's the straight person, you know what I mean? She's reacting to the more outlandish characters in it. But I was surprised. I really, really, really liked it. I really like her. I think Lorn Macdonald is absolutely brilliant in it. And what an actor. You know, of the three things that we've had him in, he's been completely different in every one. Yeah. They can completely different. I like Kat Ronney. I like the fact that they don't overuse Greg Hemphill and Sally Howitt too much, because then when they are on, they're brilliant. And yeah, like, I just really, really liked it. I'm looking forward to watching the second series, and I hope I enjoy it as much as I enjoyed this one. Yeah,
I'd heard about it, I think, when it first came out, and I'd often thought, I don't know if that sounds that funny, or I don't know if I want to watch that. And kind of, I don't know why, what had held me back. And it was, I'd thought about picking it for the podcast a couple of times. And it was literally, we had recorded, I can't even remember what we'd recorded. Why am I having a brain fart as to what we'd bloody have done? It was only a couple of episodes ago. We'd recorded Loch Ness. That's right. We recorded Loch Ness, and you'd picked Your Cheating Heart. And it was on the Sunday, and my girlfriend had asked, what are you doing? I'd said, Your Cheating Heart. I think I'd said, we watched the first 5-10 minutes. It was like, okay, right, no worries. And I was like, I'm thinking about picking this thing. Let's we'll watch the first 10 minutes and see if it's any good. So we stuck on the first episode of Dinosaur.
Yeah.
Watched all 6 episodes at once. Like,
Right.
I totally get where you're coming from. There's something about this show. It's so easy to watch. It's so gentle. It's so funny. There's a couple of bits, and it's usually lines from somebody that had me just absolutely creased over with laughter. It's a gentle show, but it's got an important message in it as well. And but it's quite a serious in parts as well. And that's something that I really, really like about it. And it just felt so comfortable and really enjoyable. So when I watched it again to make my notes, I kind of was paying a lot closer attention, thinking, right, what is it that makes this funny? And there's a lot of parts that aren't particularly hilarious, and you kind of think, this is okay. But it's something about all the parts that just make it work. And I completely agree with you. I think Ashley Storrie is an absolute standout as Nina.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that she's obviously a very well-respected comedian, and she's got like radio shows and podcasts. This is the first time she's actually acted. And which is incredible. As this, performance as Nina, she's fantastic. But it's exactly as you said, it's all the supporting characters around her that are completely eccentric when you break them down. Kat Ronney as Evie, her sister, is just fantastic. And probably my favourite is David Carlyle as Bo, her brother. They're so eccentric, but it's exactly as you said about Sally Howitt and Greg Hemphill. They are just fantastic when they're on screen, but they're used sparingly. And it's almost not to maybe overuse, and because they are very hyped. Sally Howitt, her character just grows and grows and grows, culminating in the hen night episode. And then the wedding, when she's like pretending, we had a great night, and pretends to smoke the joint. Fuck, she is brilliant in this. And of course, Danny Ashok is Ranesh, who I'm looking forward to speaking about his character, because it's very much the show you are seeing things through Nina's perspective and her eyes. And that's maybe how she views these characters. But I think it's very, very well written and very carefully done in terms of the character arcs of some of the characters. But I really just enjoyed this show. And I do wonder, it's had a lot of attention and stuff because of the portrayal and because of autism being in it. But I don't really think it's not a huge part of the show, really. It is and it's not, but it's not like a public service, like, oh, this is what people with autism are like. It does a good shot. It does a great job of showing like typical kind of traits or behavior, but the challenges that Nina faced doesn't define her. Like, because she's funny and spiky and opinionated. That has nothing to do with her having autism. It's just a funny character trait in the way she is.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, because my youngest daughter has got ADHD and autism, and I could see there's a little bits of Storrie's performance, and she's also autistic herself, although she was diagnosed a lot later. That I sort of recognise in my daughter, that overstimulation, that need to just kind of, I think the wedding episode's a good example, because she's the first one to leave, because she's overstimulated, you know what I mean, essentially, and she needs to go and sort of recharge her batteries. And my daughter's is a lot like that as well. But I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed it. Like, I'd gone in not really expecting to enjoy it, to be brutally honest. And when I looked at my comments, like the sort of notes I was making for the beginning of the first episode, you know what I mean, just as we're getting introduced to the characters, I've written Ashley Storrie looks so much like her mum, the Jenny Godley and all that kind of thing. And then I get a bit further down and I've written, this is a good sitcom. You know what I mean? Like, I just be making these sort of banal notes just to have something to talk about in the podcast, and then I realise actually this is really good, and it's really, really, really clever and really well written. And the mental health it's incredibly discussed and poured over and spoken about so much these days, and the fact that it's not a comedy about a character who's got autism, you know what I mean? It's a comedy about a character surrounded by all these mad people, but she happens to have autism. Yeah, and there are some little bits that kind of lean into it. The whole storyline between Nina and Lee. The sort of this kind of burgeoning romance, and the dress fitting is a good example. And it's kind of, it's played for laughs to some extent, but it's not like, like you don't feel like, because Kate Dickie's character is the dress shop proprietor is kind of ridiculous and a bit rude and ignorant and blah blah blah, and so it's not it's not kind of making fun of Nina's reaction to that situation. It's making fun of everybody being so uptight about the dress fitting and this weird parrot in the corner of the shop, and and the way Kate Dickie and her assistant are. It's really, really clever. It's really well written. I was really impressed by it.
But I think you are, in that scene in particular, you are because you're seeing things through Nina's perspective, you're with her on that. You are feeling overstimulated. You are feeling rushed, that she's had to leave her date with Lee. She's rushed to get there. She's come in. There's a parrot there called Malcolm. And she's feeling, who has OCD. And you are feeling like all this kind of rushness and kind of this overwhelming overstimulation. And then you've got to try on this dress. I don't even like this dress. It's horrible. And you're totally with her. And they do a really good job of just slowly ramping it up. I do love the when Kate Dickie appears, like, fucking hell, it's Kate Dickie. I did listen to a podcast that Ashley Storrie was being interviewed on. And she had said, like, because she's one of the co-creators on this and writers, and she'd said, like, the two things, like, Greg Hemphill has to play my dad. That's it. He has to. So she was delighted when got him, and when they had come up with the character of the dressmaker, and they were thinking, who could we get? And Ashley's like, it has to be Kate Dickie. Can we please find out? And Kate Dickie had like a day free. Yeah. So did it. She's like delighted to do it. And it just works. Just having her in there as this random character. So good. But I think it's exactly as you've said. It is about her autism, but it's not. It doesn't have to be. And I think they do a really good job of, the character of Lee is great as well. And he openly talks about his loneliness and that he's a bit depressed and that he doesn't deal well with things like this, relationships, and he doesn't know what to do. And I think it's really good to put that into it makes him a fully fleshed out character and not just some love interest that maybe doesn't understand her or can't work out. It shows things from a male perspective as well, which I thought was really, really cleverly done. And at the end of the day, all these characters that are over the top, they're all vulnerable as well. We see it in Bo. We see it in Ranesh, towards the end. And I think his character development is phenomenal. And all those central, Mad Amber as well. She has her moments when, like, even though she's slightly addicted to pegging. They're all really, really great characters. And I just think it's such a well-rounded show that is great. So originally it came from a 22-minute pilot in 2021 that Ashley auditioned for the part of Nina. Apparently it was meant to be an English girl in her 20s, but her agent said, well, we've got a Scottish girl who's 30 that we think might be quite good for it. She got the part, and then when the series was commissioned, they asked her to come on board as a writer and creator. So she had a really huge part in writing the series. And I think that massively helps in terms of the character and being able to put in the not just her experiences and the way she feels, but also a huge part of it being in Glasgow as well, because she is from Glasgow, she loves Glasgow, and it really showcases, the love of it and being able to show it. It's great.
It's awesome that they've used the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery as her place of work. It's really cool, because it's an awesome building. I don't know if I can't remember if they filmed inside the building, so I don't know if like the scenes in her office and all that, if that's like a studio or somewhere else, but the sort of gardens out the front where Lee has his coffee van and, the skate. I mean, what those skaters there, like the oldest skaters in the world there. You know what I mean? I don't know what they would be skating on at Kelvin Grove Park anyway, because it's all at Kelvin Grove in the gardens there, because it's all gravelly. They'll fuck up their trucks.
Yeah, well, that's why one of them breaks their leg, I guess, because you fuck up there. Yeah, but it was lovely to see kind of that, you're right, and just see like little different parts of Glasgow about. And obviously Rothsay as well is like features quite heavily in the episodes. But yeah, and the locations as well that they're filming in, because obviously they're in McNeil's at one point.
Yeah.
So yeah, lovely to see. that out there. But yeah, really well done in terms of getting her input, probably in terms of Glasgow. I guess the job of a paleontologist hasn't been this hot since Ross from Friends.
Yeah,
So very good job. Again, I'd liked that Ashley in the interview I'd listened to, she said, yeah, I guess, people with autism love dinosaurs, but she said, ironically, she doesn't love dinosaurs. She's like, I don't mind them, but it's not really interesting. Trains as her passion she's into. So that was good. But I know we will stop talking, I think, about the autism, but I think this gathered a lot of press attention because of this. But a lot of Nina's comments, right, and her no-filtered observations, they're taken as like, it's because she has autism. Some of it is just good old-fashioned Scottish sarcasm.
Yes.
A lot of her comments and stuff, I'm like, that's fair enough. Like, I just view it as just Scottish humour. Like, we do have a kind of unique-ish sense of humour in a way. And yeah, a lot of it I just put down to that rather than, part of her condition.
Well, it's like, there's that sort of almost, it's not quite gallows, but it's kind of unsparing Scottish humour. You know what I mean? Where, I suppose people's feelings maybe aren't considered before a comment's made. When you grow up in Scotland, you become used to it and you can take it, but like other parts of the world, it doesn't always go over as well.
No, I think you get that in the first episode, really, when Nina is speaking to the family. So a brilliant cutaway when she's like, "Oh, Mum and Dad are not going to be happy about this," about Evie getting engaged, and then it cuts to them opening the champagne. And, yay, celebration! And Nina delivers a line like, "You've only known him for 6 years. What if he chokes women at the weekend?"
But Mum and Dad are not going to be happy about this.
We're so happy about this.
Now, we know that it's soon, but we're thinking summer wedding.
Lovely.
That's it.
What?
She's marrying some man that none of us have ever met, and that's all you're going to say. Dad, what if he chokes women at the weekend?
Does he choke women on the weekend?
No. He's in a feminist book group.
Well, there you are. We'd only known each other 6 months when we got married.
Yes, but that was in 1986 when everybody was stupid and you thought that the feathered mullet was an all right hairstyle for men.
Oh, I loved my feathered mullet.
Oh, and he's never looked so good.
He looked like Princess Diana.
And you think, okay, right. And then cuts to a couple of scenes later, she's telling Lee about it, and he's like, 6 weeks? What if he chokes women at the weekend? You're like, okay. Brilliant. This is just, Scottish humour. In terms of that, it's not anything to do with that. But I thought there was lots of little kind of observations and stuff like that were really well done. I guess the reason they're speaking about this is Ranesh, played by Danny Ashok. And I think they do a really good job of this because I think, you're seeing this through Nina's eyes again. And initially, you're kind of thinking he's a pain in the arse. He's a bit of a twat. And especially when he comes out with like the, autism's your superpower type line. Like, for fuck's sake. And then when he says about like, we could have fidget spinners on the table. You're like, oh my God. But it's because you're meant to see things from Nina's perspective.
Yeah.
She's thinking he's a twat. As it progresses, you're like, he's all right. He's just, he's vulnerable as well. He's just trying, it's his way. He's also struggling with things. And it's just the way that kind of Nina sees him. And towards the end, you are like, he's cool, he's all right. And it's because Nina has made peace with him. She's accepted him. And she's realised, I really want to know what he did when he auditioned 4 times to get on Britain's Got Talent, though. But he's a harmless guy. And it's, I hope, him and Evie are happy together. But I thought that was so cleverly done that you're really disliking him, but then you're kind of rooting for him towards the end and thinking, he's an all right guy.
Yeah, even if he does have a concave arse that you can only see in photos. I had no idea when I hadn't really looked at the cast like before we watched it. So when it comes to episode 2 and his dad is going to be introduced, I turned to my girlfriend and I was like, I bet this is going to be Sanjeev Kohli. And, purely because he's in everything at the moment, it seems. Yeah, he does seem,
And lo and behold, here he is, just for a little guest spot. Oh, he's in a couple of, he's in the last episode as well. Fucking brilliant. Just great to see Sanjeev Kohli and everything at the moment. He's really kind of, I hate the term, but he's kind of getting his flowers right now. That just little parts in places, but he's just, popping up and breaking the mould away from Naveed.
Yeah, and he's sort of, he plays this pretty, I know that the last couple of things that we've had him in have been dramas. Well, not the last couple of things, the last might have been Coldwater was a drama, for the most part. But I saw him in Department Q, where it's a straight part as well. So yeah, it's good that because in this, he's sort of playing the straight man to some extent in a lot of his scenes until the kind of end of the episode. But I just love her. She can't understand why his glasses are so small. Yeah.
It's wonderful that is what she's fixated on. And it's true. You kind of want to know. And the big reveal that, he wears them because he thinks they make him look more interesting than he actually is. And it's, a great scene or episode that. They're all trying to impress him. They're all pandering to him. I love Mum and Dad in that episode when they're trying to pander, and obviously Sally Howitt's putting on this English accent out of nowhere. Greg Hemphill's first line to him, "You must be an important cunt because I'm not allowed to tell my best stories." Like, it's just so fucking good. But for then Nina to just tell all about everyone and their situation, and him to just drop the act and break his filter, and he's I'm just the same as you guys basically. And I thought, wonderful. Absolutely brilliantly done and well written, I thought.
Right, well, I'll just...
No, wait. If you want to know who we are, Mum isn't English. Dad sells garden furniture. Bo's always like that. He's very damaged. And Ranesh doesn't wear cowboy trilbies. And Evie is my sister. And she's a really great and thoughtful and creative person. And she once shat her pants in a nightclub in Zante, and they were white hot pants, and Mum tried to get them clean using baking soda, but she just spread it everywhere, and it was such a mess, and I'm not supposed to tell that story. I don't know why, because it's a fun story, and it makes me happy to tell it. And we have spent this entire evening pretending to be people we're not, to try and get you to like us, which doesn't make any sense, because you're not very nice, and I need to know, why are your glasses so tiny?
Yeah, he's really good, and you kind of had to have him. I wonder if she kind of pushed for him in the same way she pushed for Hemphill and Dickie for those two roles. Yeah,
just absolutely perfect for it. I mean, we've spoken a little bit about Greg Hemphill and Sally Howitt, but just absolutely great when they're on screen. There's just an energy and a chemistry between the two, and you just want to see they're just normal people, but they're just, they're so funny. And I think I read somewhere, like they did improvise quite a little bit of that. And there was a few scenes where they just let them kind of go and see what they could come up with and see what they could do. And it was just always absolutely hilarious, the stuff they would come out with.
Yeah. I mean, especially because someone like Greg Hemphill there, you know what I mean? He's just always going to pull some absolute nuggets out of a situation. And it's quite funny to see, because we're so used to seeing Sanjeev Kohli as Naveed and Greg as Victor in scenes together. I always think it's quite funny when you see two actors playing different characters opposite each other, when you're so used to seeing them playing each other and in a specific program and playing those specific characters. It's kind of, it's kind of cool in a way. I can't put my finger on it.
Well, we had it as well in Coldwater because they were together in a lot of scenes in that. And then, in this, it's, very good.
Of course, I'm forgetting that Greg Hemphill was in Coldwater as well. Yeah, of course, yeah.
Is it just because that's a couple of things he's been in recently and that we've covered, but is he kind of becoming the new Ford Kieran in a way? Because Ford, like whilst they were doing just after, or during Still Game or just after, it seemed that Ford did quite a few things, like, with the Field of Blood, and he had a little bit parts in a few things, but Greg Hemphill never seemed to really do much. But now is he kind of like, fuck it, I'll give it a bash and do these things, and it does seem that way. He's in a couple of things now.
But it was in the last Deadpool film, wasn't it? Deadpool and Wolverine. A speaking role, no less. I mean, I think Ford's Hollywood career was like a literally about a 5-second appearance in Gangs of New York as a fireman, but he does have a line because he has a line in a scene with Jim Broadbent. But it's good to see, because all these guys, I guess they're probably trying to get out from underneath still game to some extent. You know, like I saw that Ford's doing a podcast. Is that with his daughter? I think podcast. So. Yeah, he's doing a bit of a sort of generational podcast with his daughter, and I guess it's always hard for these guys to step away from something that's been so successful and so beloved. You know, the ability to be able to say, well, you know, that I'm also able to do a lot more than just play an old man, or, you know, do sketches with this guy. You know, like I am able to, like I can do a bit of drama, I can do a bit of sitcom, I can do a bit of situation comedy as well. You know, I can even do a bit of bartending for Hugh Jackman. So yeah, I like it because when it's someone that you like and they're able, and they, you know, you see them sort of spreading their wings a bit and doing something a bit different. It's sort of gratifying. Yeah,
you feel kind of like a proudness of it, or like like just like I was saying about Sanjeev Kohli. Like, I'm so happy he's doing all these roles now. It's like he's kind of getting. I guess one thing we haven't covered on the pod, but I did. That's why another thing that I was like, oh, fuck's sake, he is in everything, was, I know you've watched it. We watched I Swear a few weeks ago. And of course, he plays the shopkeeper in that.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, it's lovely to see, like Greg Hemphill and Sanjeev doing these things. Another character that I said I loved, and I really just loved the relationship, is David Carlyle as Bo. And for me, it was such a treat, the relationship he has, like, with Nina. It's that I adore, you know, the relationship he has with Hilda, who you never see, but, you know, he's forgotten to charge her crystals and stuff, and, you know, has to ignore her calls until it rings out, because otherwise that's another headache. I love the brother and sister element that they have in this. And I think the show really benefits from it. Like, they love and adore each other, but they speak to each other the way like brother and sisters do. But you know, they're always there. They've got each other's back. Like, some of his lines, like, you know, Evie texted and said, "You went fucking mental." The dress fitting is, you know, just well delivered. But the one that had me, like, he calls her Lurch quite a few times.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
And then at one point he calls her Yoda. But it's the last episode. They're waiting to get into the house before the wedding. They ring the doorbell and he turns to her and he calls her Shagrid, which had me in fucking pieces. like absolutely love it. I was not expecting. You know, it's like, all right, what's up with you, Shagrid? And I just like, fucking hell. Just perfect the way that a brother and sister would be with each other. And it's lovely. He kind of gets this happy ending in a way, that he breaks up with Hilda and then he gets together with Mad Amber. But let's see what happens there, because I don't know if it will be happy.
He says she sent me a photograph of herself outside my primary school.
Yes.
The last thing I saw him in was It's a Sin, the Russell T Davies drama about the sort of AIDS epidemic in London amongst the homosexual community in the 1980s. And I've really, really enjoyed It's a Sin. I thought it was one of the most moving and evocative things I've seen in years. Yeah. You know? And he plays quite a tragic character. There's a bit of tragedy around, I think, all the male characters in it, apart from the black guy that works in the bar. All the other male characters, I don't want to spoil it, but there's definitely tragedy surrounding the rest of them. But yeah, maybe him in particular, because he's the only Scottish character in it, and just the way that his parents have to come and get him and all that kind of thing. You know, it's he's good, but but he's doing like almost broad comedy in this. And again, like they use him a wee bit more towards the end of the series. You know, like particularly in the last couple of episodes, when he's figuring out about Evie getting off with what's his name, Clayton Ewan, at Rossi. And he kind of works it out and things, and then at the wedding at the end, when he's doing Loch Lomond on his own, because he's just broken up with Hilda. He's really good.
No, he's a great character, I think, and provides, obviously I don't say comic relief, because it is a sitcom in a way, but he does provide like a bit of over-the-top comedy. You know, when he's on the screen, you're going to get a laugh about something, he's going to say something ridiculous, or you're going to hear an update with him and Hilda. And yeah, it is the panic on his face when he discovers what Evie's done, and then he's trying to, got to keep this secret, but when he finds out, Ranesh is there, and he's like, oh shit, starts puffing on his vape, and then has to leave. Brilliant. And that's how he finds out, because Bo's being fucking weird, and great character. And we'll see how he is with Mad Amber, who also is a good side character. I'd love to, before you've even met her, the line, she had a shrine to you at university, and Evie, it wasn't a shrine, it was a friendship collage. And it's trying to justify her behaviour. But Mad Amber, great character as well. Just what you need, a kind of over-the-top friend. Yeah. Provide a bit of comic relief, and really good. Just kind of heighten like a situation in terms of comedic effect.
One thing I liked about this, and and made me think of it around when we're talking about David Carlyle as Bo. Like when a sitcom does like a sort of serious scene, and I think about Friends, right? So Friends has got a couple of serious moments, but they always sort of the scene kind of ends, and then we'll get another scene where someone's doing something funny. You know what I mean? So I think, maybe the bits when Monica and Chandler find out that they can't have kids, for example, or something like that. And it's, obviously it's devastating for any couple, and it's, any couple that wants to have kids. And it's, but it sort of ends the scene, or maybe the end of the episode. But whereas this has some quite serious moments in it that they're sort of carried really comfortably into something funny to lighten it up. You know what I mean? So I think about the argument that whole sort of 10 minutes where Nina has the argument with Evie, or Evie has a go at Nina because she's trying to tell Evie that she should come clean to Ranesh about getting off with the boy in Wossie. And they have this big row where, Evie says sort of harboured resentments and things and makes Nina feel awful. So she goes to find Lee, who's been kind of avoiding her, and she has to go into this party where she's really uncomfortable, and there's loads of people and everything, and it's quite a serious moment where perhaps Nina's autism is kind of used as a device more than perhaps other parts of the program. But then Bo comes to pick her up, and it could have been a sort of him giving her a hug and they could be all right, blah blah blah. But he just roasts her, and we're straight back to the kind of comedy again. But it's not a kind of jarring move. You know what I mean? You because they play the role of brother and sister so well, and the scenes between them when they're poking fun at each other or they're making fun of Evie, which is not there or whatever, are so well written that it moves like seamlessly back into comedy from quite a serious with Nina's been really upset, she's crying and everything. She's gone to look for a bit of comfort, and the only person that turns out is available to her is her daft brother. But it's just what she needs at that moment. It's really clever.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, touching moment in that earlier in the episode. She's looking for her necklace and she can't find it, and the way he's like, well, I've never fucking seen it, and takes the piss out of her, like a bit daft, rubbing a fucking seashell whilst you're getting an interview. And then she gets in the car and he just hands it to her without a word, and it's such a beautiful, touching scene, and you kind of feel that you can kind of breathe out now. With Nina at that moment. It's like, okay, everything's okay now. Everything's fine. Because again, they do that beautifully of ramping up that you're with Nina and you're feeling the uncomfortableness and you're feeling this kind of overstimulation. And then you can relax a little bit. You're safe. And it's so well done in those scenes. Really well done.
Oh, Yoda, what was that about?
What?
Evie was being strange.
Evie's always strange. Have you seen my ammonite? Evie had it made into a necklace for me for my 18th birthday. I had it round here somewhere. It looks like a shell.
Pretty sure I've never seen that in my life.
Yes, you have. I have a job interview and I need it.
Why?
Because it is cold and it's smooth and it makes me feel safe.
Right, because that won't look strange when you're fiddling with a seashell in your interview.
Oh, if you're not going to help, go away.
And you kind of, I don't know, you do feel a little bit for Lee. You feel as a bit of a dick in that moment because of not texting her back. But then you kind of realise, you know, he's got slight issues as well. Played, as you said earlier, by Lorn Macdonald, who is just a fucking chameleon. He's so, exactly as you say, when you take, you know, his characters and the three things we've done from Beats, Coldwater and this, just so different in everything. And if I hadn't known Lorn Macdonald, you would struggle to be like, is that the same guy?
Yeah, no, it's true. He's got, because he's, like, I don't say this to make fun of him, but he's got a really funny face. What do you think? And I feel like he knows what a great funny face he's got, so he uses it really well, especially in this, where he's, you know, he is playing a sort of eccentric character in a way. You know, like some of the expressions that he makes and the way he reacts to her, you know, when he's trying to, you know, when they go on the date, and he's, you know, he's obviously trying to find a connection with her, and, you know, and have a, you know, try and get the conversation going with her and everything, and he ends up knocking his drink over, and you know what I mean? He's just. He's really, really, really good in this, and you're really rooting for both of them by the end of the last episode of the series. You know, he does the right thing. He just doesn't. He says it's never gone this far before with any you know, in the past. I didn't really know what to do,
and he's panicked and tried to just kind of ignore, and because he's worried. I think he guessed, as he says, like she'd mentioned about going to the Isle of Wight, so in his mind it's like, oh well, what's the point? That's gonna, you know, not go anywhere, so just leave it. But he does the right thing and effectively shares how he feels, and which kind of saves the day in a way. I do. Yeah, I mean, their date, first of all, like, I loved Beau's reaction afterwards when she says, and he went, fucking hell, you want a date? Was it like an episode of The Undateables? Which made me laugh. Doesn't get off to the best start when, you know, he meets her outside the pub, he goes for a hug, Nina says, I don't do hugs. He says, oh, and I don't do butt stuff.
Oh, I don't do hugs.
Oh. And I don't do butt stuff. Sorry, I don't know why. I mean, I don't do that, but not as a standard practice. It's just not come up yet. Sorry, I don't know why and I shouldn't. Shall we?
Awkward chat, spills a drink, she gets locked in a cubicle, then leaves. Have you ever had a first date go that badly?
Well, I think I maybe told this before. It's not my finest moment, but I did meet a girl in the garage one night who lived in Kilmarnock, and we had a kiss and a cuddle, and she had to, it was like a Friday night, quite a few drinks had been taken. Obviously, nightclubs are dark, and we swapped numbers. We arranged to meet to go to the cinema together on a date. We went to see Bruce Almighty. Well, we planned to go and see Bruce Almighty. She came to the restaurant I worked in because it was near the cinema. When I saw her coming through the doors, I was filled with regret. And so, but I went to the cinema with her, and Bruce Almighty was good. And she was a driving instructor.
Oh.
And we went for a burger after, and then she gave me a lift home because I couldn't drive back in those days, as you recall. She told me she'd teach me to drive. On the street I lived in Glasgow, I used to live in Dundrennan Road in Glasgow, like an old sort of tenement community, and obviously the roads between these tenement buildings were built before people had cars. So if you didn't get to your flat by a certain time, you might not be able to park because, you know, there'd be nowhere to park. So so I didn't ask her in. But I couldn't ask her in because there was nowhere for it to park. I was like, I was going to ask you in for a cup of tea, but I don't think you'll be able to park anywhere. And then I don't know if I paid for this already. If I haven't, I definitely will. I just ghosted her for a few weeks until she stopped phoning me.
Oh.
Not good, is it? No. What about you? Have you ever had a dreadful first date?
I was thinking about this. I mean, I think my top three, the number three would be, I'll whiz through the other two. The time I got drugged on a date.
Drunk?
Yeah, I definitely, I got my drink spiked, yeah.
Did you
I-
really?
It was very dodgy, very dodgy. I'll tell you the story at some other point. But
Okay.
yeah, I survived because, ironically, I was aware, like I've started feeling it and I was like, oh, because had my drink spiked before. And I was like, yeah, something's not right. So I left. Yeah, very, very odd. Number 2 would be a date I went on. Things seemed to be going okay. And then we got in a taxi to go to a club, but then I realised that she was quite drunk. And then she started giving the taxi driver a lot of racist abuse. So, yeah, that kind of, got to the club and I left, parted ways. Just got in the toilet and then left. Number 1.
Otherwise known as a gentleman's exit.
Yeah. Number 1 probably also involves a trip to the cinema when a different girl turned up from who I was expecting. That was, a bit strange. So, short version of the long story. It was when I was working at Daytona and I was working behind the bar one night. There was a group of girls in. I think they were sitting at the smoking section at the, they went up the stairs a little bit.
Yeah.
So you could kind of see them, but not really. They had taken a bit of a shine to me. And the waitress, Jackie, came up and was like, oh, you've got a fan club over there. And I was like, all right, okay. And then she'd said, oh, one of them wants your number. Ask you out. And I was like, well, which one? And I don't know. I was like, well, tell them to come up to the bar.
Yeah.
They couldn't because they weren't old enough to come up to the bar. They were 17. I was only 18.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought it was one of them. Exchanged
Right.
numbers. I'd been texting her for a week. Then arranged a date to go out for a drink. She turned up and it was a different one. It wasn't the one I thought. It wasn't the pretty one I thought it was. It was a less pretty one. Yeah, so went to go for a drink, but she couldn't get in anywhere because she was only 17. So then we went to the cinema and watched The World Is Not Enough. And then our mum came and picked her up.
I'll do it.
Yeah, never messaged her again. So yeah, that was my bad first dates. But yeah, so didn't work out as well in the end as Nina and Lee's does. But yeah, very bad first date that they went on. But I read a review in the Herald, and the headline was Greg Hemphill's new comedy Dinosaur, which I thought was pretty shitty.
That's the one I saw. It wasn't the Guardian, it was the Herald.
Yeah, and it wasn't a very good review. Yeah, you're right.
No. I mean, the Herald seems to be anti everything at the moment, so it does. I don't know who the editor is, but they seem to have a sort of agenda of just beating everything down.
Yeah, they really do, actually. I guess we haven't really spoken about, but it is a big part of the show as well, but Nina's work and her colleagues there. You've got, obviously, Declan,
Shane.
who she gets on really well with, and Shane, played by Ben Rufus Green, who, did you ever watch The Cockfields?
I seen, is that the one with Joe Wilkinson in it?
Yes.
I've seen like the first one. Like he goes to like, is it the Isle of Wight that his mum and dad live on or something? Or is it, are they the man or something? And,
Oh God, yeah. I think it's one
Bobby
of them.
Ball.
Yeah.
Bobby Ball plays his dad, and then Gregor Fisher took over when Bobby Ball died. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So he plays like his kind of stepbrother. His weird brother, Ben Rufus Green, but he's fantastic in Cockfields. So when he popped up in this, I was like, oh my God, it's fucking David from Cockfields. But yeah, he's very similar character in a way as the awkward Shane, as her boss that kind of doesn't really understand dinosaurs in a way or something, or just has this role and kind of doesn't understand autism either. But always has strawberry laces.
I like the moment when he's not physically in the scene, but when he used the voice note to say how he took the liberty of checking her email, and she just sort of cuts off the message and then checks her own email.
Kind of have the. You really get the disdain that they have for this guy, but they just kind of put up with him. Like the joke about when he says he's got the office with his own toilet, and it's like it's only yours because no one wants to go in after you. And speaking of the message you're saying, I always like a show that has text messages or emails coming up on screen so you can read them. I think it's such a kind of nice little device that you can, saves a bit of time. You can read them. You're reading them with the character. And I always really like that. I think it's a really good way to show things rather than seeing it on the screen or something. And it avoids one of my biggest pet peeves is if you see a phone and someone's received a text message from someone, like if I'd received a text message from you and it's the only message. There's no previous dialogue. I'm like, that is just so, what, do they delete all their messages all the time? That's ridiculous. That's not how it works. That annoys me.
We know that you don't delete anything, just in case you need to dredge it out to use it against one of us. You know.
You never know. You never know. I have been getting better. I have deleted quite a few, just like images or videos and stuff. But yeah, most of the chat's still there, just in case. You never know when you need to get anything there. Occasionally, won 2 Scottish BAFTAs, Best Writing for Ashley and Matilda Curtis, and Ashley took home the Audience Award, which I think is very well, very well done for her, and her mum would be so fucking proud. The late Janie Godley.
I saw a few of her videos on. She put a couple of messages up on Twitter after her mum passed away, and I remember thinking, just come off Twitter. You know what I mean? Because I know that her mum. Some people found her mum quite sort of kind of polarized, and I thought Janie Godley was fantastic. I really liked her. I always liked her. But I didn't know a lot of Ashley's work because there's a lot of BBC Scotland stuff, and she's been doing a lot of stuff. Well, I've not been living in Scotland, so if you're not there, you're not as likely to kind of come across it as you are if you live there. And so, but I had, she had kind of put some messages up about her mum where she, either defending something somebody has said about her mum after one passed away, you know what I mean? Any fucking lower. And, and she'd put up some quite nice, some very nice sort of tributes to her and things. But I just thought, when you see some of the comments that people were making, I just thought, just come off Twitter. You don't need to be on this anymore. No. You know what I mean? They go and use TikTok or use Instagram or something else, but don't just come off here. So it's just a fucking cesspool. Twitter, it's horrendous. Well, X as it's called now, it's horrendous. But yeah, I wasn't that familiar with her really, and I knew that she'd done broadcasting and she'd done stand-up and things, and I said before, like I didn't know anything about this, and my expectations were to my shame they're very high when I came out to watch it. But yeah, I just couldn't believe how fucking good she was, and I just couldn't. And especially when you see that she's not done like a great deal of acting, certainly not anything where she's been the lead. She's played the lead role, and she holds it down there, and and she's acting with people that have, for IMDb's anything to go by, have got more experience of acting on camera than she does. But I think she's fantastic, and for the Herald to fucking call it Greg Hemphill's program when he's not even in every single episode. No. And just to sort of discount the fact that, it's not, if it's anybody's program, I feel like Ashley Storrie wouldn't say it was her show, but it's her show.
It is. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Really, she's, she plays the lead. She's co-creator. And I just think she's a revelation. And I'm really interested to see what she goes on to do after. Because I've got a feeling that we'll probably see her in some drama and maybe some film and things. What's the name of the actress that was in Two Doors Down that's in the Barbie film? I can't think of her name.
Oh, Sharon Rooney.
Yeah, Sharon Rooney. I think if she can go and have a career in Hollywood, we'll see why Ashley Storrie can't. Like, based on her performance in this, she's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, no, she's just absolutely fantastic in this, and I'm really happy watch this, and I think the perfect way of just watching it in one, and I'm kind of desperate to watch series 2 because it came out like last week or the week before, and it's kind of like, okay, I almost want to find a time. I think tomorrow actually we've got a bit of free time. Right. I might just sit and binge watch the whole of the second series because I don't know, but then I almost want to savor it as well, but it just felt it was the right way to watch it, of just in one, it was just so well done. But really looking forward to watching that, and really looking forward to, exactly as you say, to see what Ashley does next, because this, I think it's so good that this show was so good, and then it was, apart from the fucking Herald, it was so well received.
Yeah.
And, through everyone in terms of the press, but also the general public as well, seemed to really have enjoyed it and latched onto it. And I think it is a testament to her performance and the writing and the story as well. It's just it's just nice, easy viewing, but so fucking funny.
It's good. It's good to watch something where people have got such a good sense of what's funny and when to be funny, and when and when to like it's when you see like I watched Last One Laughing on Amazon. Did you watch it, Bob Mortimer?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
so like the people that are on there, like Bob Mortimer, for example, and Joe Wilkinson. Fucking hell, David.
Richard
Ayoade, fucking hell. They've got a real sense of what's funny. And the thing is, when they make you laugh, and there's things in this that made me laugh, and I'm like, well, the guy didn't know that. I didn't know that was supposed to be funny. You know what I mean? Until, and it's just because they've got such an instinct for it. And it's like seeing people like that have been doing comedy for years and years. Like, because obviously Joe Wilkinson's been around for a long time now. Richard Awaadi's been around for ages. Like, the IT Crowd was 20 plus years ago. Yeah. And obviously Bob Mortimer, who's just a fucking unicorn. I mean, I can't even look at Bob Mortimer these days without laughing. Yeah. Honestly, that man is ridiculous. So, when some Scots come along and idealise this programme and create this programme rather, and it's funny, and you don't know why why you're laughing sometimes, like, because you never have you could never have seen the comedy in a situation like that if they hadn't presented it. You know what I mean? It's really good. Yeah,
there's a lot of little throwaway lines that are hilarious, but when you examine them, you think, why is that funny? But it's just in the moment. The name of the takeaway truck that Ranesh loves, here we gyros. It's like but it works in the moment, and it's so funny. Even the names that Lee and Ashley or Nina are trying to come up with for the latte, like Foam Alone and Foam Were Found. Like, see, you're laughing and I'm laughing. It's not funny, really, when you actually break it down. But in the moment, it's so funny. And you're like, that's really clever. I really like that. And the show is just absolutely full of them. But also incredible performances. And as I say, Ashley's brilliant, but also the rest of the cast just make up and just make the show. Really do.
Is it time to put Dinosaur through the Swally Awards?
Let's go, my man. Let's go.
Okay, so the first award is the Bobby the Barman Award for the best pub. We've got a few choices here.
Yeah, so I had this Scribble, there's McNeil's, and there's the Golfers Bar in Rothsay.
I mean, for me, it's the Golfers Bar in Rothsay all day.
Yeah.
I could happily kill it. I'd happily miss the ferry for the Golfers Bar in Rothsay.
It looked brilliant. Was it, Nina says, a place with more old men than Nina's pants? It's the pub.
Next then is the James Cosmo Award for being a prolific appearer in Scottish productions.
I mean, we discussed it. It has to be Sanjeev Kohli, surely, or did you have someone else?
Well, latterly, I would say Sanjeev Kohli, but if you look at Sally Howitt's IMDb, pretty prolific. She's been appearing in stuff for years. So, you can remember she was in It's Not Come Fly With Me, the one with Alan Cumming and the flight attendants.
Oh my God, The High Life. So
the High Life, yeah.
Holy shit.
She's in the resuscitation episode. That one when they're doing the pool exercises.
Oh my God, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, of course she is. Yeah, I guess I just think, it's Scarlett from River City. So but I should have actually double checked. Yes, let's give it to Sally Howitt. She deserves it for that.
Next then is the Jake McQuillan Your T-Zoot Award. So for that, I mean, it's not, obviously, no one's getting punched in the face in this, really. I went with Lee knackering his shoulder on the cubicle door.
That's, fair enough. I went with, I guess, Greg Hemphill throwing a glass of wine over Sachin, but that was, really struggling at something to come up with. So, no, there's no violence or anything, no.
And equally, no nudity, although Kat Ronney's wedding jumpsuit is doing its best to keep everything in the last episode. Next then, I mean, you mentioned it already, but the Francis Begbie Award for gratuitous swearing has to be Hemphill dropping a C-bomb. It comes out of nowhere. Yes. You don't get a lot of C-bombs on the BBC.
There's not a huge amount of swearing in this, but when there is, it's important. And I know, like, you have a quota. So you can have a C-bomb, but it'll cost you like 2 fucks or something like that. They've used it pretty much up on Greg Hemphill there. And the last episode when they're singing Isla, Isla, Isla fucking White. Yeah. And yeah, but it's so well done because it's just, as you say, unexpected, dropped in there. It's not like a big statement like you cunt. It's just, oh, you must be an important cunt. But it flows so well and works so well. And yeah, I burst out laughing just at the use of the word in this situation. It's fucking brilliant.
Next then, archetypal Scott's moment. Doesn't get much more archetypal than sitting on the beach in shitty weather. What did you go for?
Saturday afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Pished woman in McNeil's.
Yeah. Speaking
to Nina through the toilet door. Because Nina's like, come on, Nina. And woman shouts back, go on, Nina. And goes and gets Lee. Can't find him to begin with, comes back. He's the one with the shit mullet. Oh, okay. Goes and gets him. But the bit for me that sums it all up is when Nina's leaving, the pish woman goes, bye, Nina. Yeah. For me, it's an archetypal Scottish moment.
Oh, there you go.
Or, as Nina says at one point, we don't razzle or dazzle, we're Scottish.
Yeah. And then finally, I mean, I think we've sort of expressed who the winner of this one is, but the Big Tam Award for winning Dinosaur.
Yeah, it has to be obviously Ashley Storrie. I mean, co-creator, writer, and star. I think there's so many other great performances in this. I mean, David Carlyle, Sally Howitt, Greg Hemphill, they all kind of steal a large part for me. But yeah, without a doubt, you can't give it to anyone but Ashley. Like, it is her show. Yeah. And it's exactly as you said, she would probably say, no, it's not my show. But it is. And yeah, she's incredible. So yeah, she has to win it.
There you go. Well, if you want to watch Dinosaur, it's on the BBC iPlayer, both series, if you're in the UK. And if you're not, NordVPN can put you in the
UK. I believe if you're in the US or elsewhere, it's on Hulu.
Oh yes, I did
it's
see that.
Co-production. So yeah, so you'll be able to watch it on Hulu if too. But yeah, highly recommend Dinosaur. So that was my choice, Greg. So it's your choice next. So why don't you tell us what we're going to be watching on the next episode of the Culture Swally?
Well, I am taking us back to 1999 for this Channel 4 television drama series starring Dougie Henshall and Niamh McIntosh, Alexander Mackenzie, Alison Peebles, Jenny McCrindle, Peter Capaldi and his missus Elaine Collins, and it's the 6-part series Psychos.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I've definitely not seen it all, but the series focuses upon a manic depressive psychiatrist, Dr. David Nash, played by Dougie Henshall, written by David Wollstonecroft. There's a name and a half for you.
Yeah,
so yeah, if you want to watch it before listening to us, I'll ramble on about it. Every episode's on YouTube.
Oh, fantastic. So, wonderful. Yeah. Oh, that is an incredible cast. I can't wait to watch this. It sounds brilliant. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it. Maybe when I have a look at it and I see, I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember watching an episode of this. Because that would
I remember it being on.
Right it'd be right in my wheelhouse time, like 99. Yeah. Especially if it was on Channel 4.
Glory days.
Yeah, it would have been. Sat in my bedroom watching it on my big portable TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well. I'll look forward to having a look at that and then discussing it with you on the next episode. So, Psychos. Fantastic. All right, great. Well, thank you very much for listening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show. Give us a little rating, review, subscription, wherever you get your podcasts. It really does help. And tell your friends about us as well. If you want to get in touch with us, you can. You can email us, cultureswally@gmail.com, with anything you've seen in the news or anything you'd like us to cover on the pod, or even just to say hello. And we've got a lovely website as well, don't we, Greg?
You can can find us at cultureswally.com, where there are links to all our episodes and some articles and blog posts about Scottish TV and film.
Wonderful. Okay, right. Well, I will leave you, Greg. It's a Saturday, well, early evening for you, or late evening.
Quarter to 8.
Evening.
Yeah.
Mid-evening. You know, not on the randan this evening.
No, I've got a morning of tennis and paddle tomorrow morning, and then I've got some work to do, some actual work that I need to sit and do tomorrow afternoon. So yeah, my Sunday is not shaping up to be a relaxing one. But you know what to do. It's better than having too much to drink tonight and then having to machete my way through it tomorrow. So
that's the spirit. And getting into the cold bath and the steam room then, if you need to, to do that. Wonder.
Exactly.
Right, okay, wonderful. Right.
Until next time.
Till next time.
Well, you must be an important cunt because I've been told not to tell any of my good stories.
Dad!
He knows I don't mean anything by it, don't you, pal?